resettled on their ancestral land, which was alienated by the colonial government and the white settlers. 2, recommends the establishment of a regional representation of Mau Mau War veterans within the Mau Mau War Veterans Association. 3, recommends the official recognition and commendation of the Mau Mau movement under the first schedule of the Kenya Heroes Act. 4, engages the National Land Commission to investigate pre-colonial land injustices committed against the Mau Mau veterans. And finally, 5, makes any other recommendations it deems appropriate in addressing the plight of the petitioners. And your petitioners will ever pray, presented by Rahim Daoud, member for North Imenti, on behalf of the Mau Mau veterans. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Very well. I don't know the members who have indicated interest to speak. Is it on the petition? Honorable Kengara, is it on the petition? No. Mbui, is it on the petition? No. Chepalungu? It's not. Okay. So that petition will be committed to the Public Petitions Committee. Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Under papers, we have Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs.
Yes. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
What is out of order, Honorable Gonzi?
Let me sit down.
Actually supposed to receive a response of my statement by the Ministry of Defense.
We are not there yet.
Okay.
Hold it until we are in order number 7. Honorable Murugara?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Thursday, 14th August 2025. A report of the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs on the consideration of the Elections Amendment number 2 Bill of 2024, which is Senate Bill number 29 of 2024. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, also got a point of, to raise a point of order.
Honorable Murugara,
Yes,
you first lay the paper on the table.
I have laid the paper. I have a second one to lay on the table through a point of order. Honorable Speaker, my attention has been brought to a circular by the Public Procurement Regulatory
Honorable
Authority.
Murugara, hold on. Let
Yes.
us exhaust this order first.
Thank-
We'll give you. Honorable Gekaria, Chairperson, Departmental Committee of Energy. You're on your phone, Honorable Gekaria.
Yes, yeah, sorry, Honorable Speaker.
You have some papers to lay?
No, not yet. Not yet, Honorable Speaker.
Not yet.
No.
So okay. Honorable Murugara, I'll indulge you for the next one.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, my attention has been drawn to a circular dated 12th August 2025 by the Public Procurement Regulatory Authority to various government agencies regarding enforcement of compliance with the mandatory use of the Electronic Government Procurement System, EGPS, by all public procurement entities. Honorable Speaker, I will lay this paper on the table, and I'm happy to see the chairperson of the Committee on Delegated Legislation is in the House so that this can be looked at. Having gone through this circular and bearing in mind the various provisions of the Statutory Instruments Act, this circular is actually a statutory instrument par excellence, and that it ought to have been brought to the Committee on Delegated Legislation for scrutiny and approval, because it seems to have the force of law by making declarations that failure to comply with this circular will constitute an offense. Therefore, in my view, I request you, Madam Speaker, to actually give directions regarding the circular which I'm going to lay on the table. And the directions I seek are that it be referred to the Committee on Delegated Legislation for scrutiny. And if it contravenes that particular act, and especially because it doesn't seem to have any public participation, apart from
Honorable Murugara, you know, you and I sat in the Delegated Legislation
Yes.
Committee last term.
Yes.
So be careful not to do their job.
All right. Thank you.
Be careful not to
Thank you.
preempt.
Thank you. I will stop there and beg to lay this particular circular and request you kindly to refer it to that committee for scrutiny as required under the Statutory Instruments Act. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We have the chair for Delegated Legislation Committee, and I must confirm that as liaison, this matter has been brought to us, the issue of e-procurement and the process of transition. I think, Chair, you can be able to shed some light on that before I commit it.
I thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I'm aware that this matter was discussed extensively yesterday at the Liaison Committee, although I was not there. When I came, you had just concluded. Madam Speaker, I want to thank the Honorable Murugara for raising this matter. Madam Speaker, this is a very grave issue, which requires pronunciation by this House. Madam Speaker, under Article 94 of the Constitution, it is extremely very clear, it's like day and night. It states as follows, that there is no person who can make anything that has a force of law except Parliament. Madam Speaker, a statutory instrument as a force of law has just been stated clearly by the Honorable Murugara. Just for avoidance of doubt, I just want to read what a statutory instrument is under the Statutory Instruments Act, which was passed by this House, and which no one can contravene, Madam Speaker. It states as follows: a statutory instrument means any rule, order, regulation, direction, form, tariff of cost or fees, letters, patent, commission, warrant, proclamation, bylaw, resolution, guidelines, or other statutory instrument issued, made, or established in the execution of a power conferred by or under an act of Parliament, under which that statutory instrument or subsidiary legislation is expressly authorized to be issued, Madam Speaker. It is very clear. It is just like day and night. There is no state officer who has any power to issue any command that has a force of law, that if you contravene, you will be liable to certain sanctions. So, Madam Speaker, I'm very happy that this has been laid, and we will be happy, myself and Honorable Mbui here, and those other, Honorable the Vice Chair is here, we will take it up.
You are already doing the work of the committee.
No, I'm not doing, I am just
So
stating the obvious
I will
facts.
direct as follows. You have given the law and how it goes. We are understanding what you're saying. But I would like that the Committee on Delegated Legislation takes a serious dive to this matter, interrogates the legal framework. You know the options also available to you via the Statutory Instruments Act, so that you bring a report to this House, and this Honorable Chepkonga may not wait on Tuesday before we go on recess, because it's a serious matter. On Tuesday, because we'll have a sitting the whole day, make sure that the report is ready. It is so directed. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Honorable Gekari, are you ready? And you're still not ready. Yeah, because you are
Honorable
supposed to
Speaker.
lay a paper,
Yes, yes. Honorable
then
Speaker,
move a notice of motion.
Yes, we were to do that. I have signed on my part because it was a joint
was to be
committee.
co-joint.
Yes, my other colleague has not signed. So
It has to wait.
I've requested the clerk, and they have told me we cannot lay until he signs.
Yeah, it
Thank
has
you,
to
Honorable
wait.
Speaker.
Okay. So, next order.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
We have statements that are being, I think, being requested first. Honorable Gekaria, you are listed here. Are you ready with this one?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Pursuant to provisions of Standing Order number 44-2C, I rise to request a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Tourism and Wildlife regarding the legality of legal representation by the Kenya Wildlife Service of officers facing criminal charges in connection with the disappearance of Brian Odhiambo. Honorable Speaker, on 6 March 2025, 6 officers, namely Senior Sergeant Francis Washira, Alexander Lerogoi, Isaac Ochieng, Michael Wabukala, Evans Kimayo, and Abdulamahan Suli, were arraigned in court and charged with the offense of abduction with intent to murder Mr. Brian Odhiambo, a fisherman who went missing on the 18th January 2025 in Nakuru. Mr. Brian Odhiambo is alleged to have been abducted by the officers at his residence in Nakuru town, and efforts to trace him have been unsuccessful to date. Honorable Speaker, it is deeply concerning that despite the gravity of the charge, the said officers remain in active service within KWS and are reportedly being represented in court by a legal counsel of the public institution. This raises concern on the misuse of public resources to defend persons charged with criminal offenses in their individual capacities, as well as likely interference with the court proceedings, considering that the charges have been preferred against the officers in their individual capacity and not on behalf of the institution. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Tourism and Wildlife on the following. 1, the justification for KWS assigning legal counsel at public expense to represent the 6 officers currently facing criminal charges in their individual capacity. 2, confirmation on whether the utilization of public funds and resources for the stated purpose complies with Article 226 of the Constitution and the Public Finance Management Act Cap 412A, which prohibits unlawful and unauthorized use of public funds, and if not, action taken to cause the responsible officer to refund the said public funds, public money. And 3, a report on the current employment status of the officers, including clarification as to whether they are in active service or in suspension during the pendency of investigation into the matter of the disappearance of one Brian Odhiambo. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chair, Tourism and Wildlife Committee, is that Kareke? Is he in the House? If not, Vice Member, Leader of Majority.
Honorable Speaker, allow me to promise that when we open Parliament after recess, we'll be able to give a response, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Very well. First week on resumption. Statements to be responded to. We have the Committee on Administration, Honorable Tongoyo or Honorable Member for Saku. The question is on insecurity in Isiolo by Honorable Tubi. Is the owner of the question in the House? Honorable Tubi, not in the House. What say you?
Madam Speaker, we also don't have a response to that. I think with benefit of hindsight, we expected that issue should have been canvassed yesterday when the minister was in the House. But nevertheless, we will still speak to the ministry to give us a response.
Yeah, endeavor to bring the statement to the House. Another question through that is sentencing of Ms. Margaret Nduta in Vietnam. Honorable Sabina Chege, is she in the House? If she's not, Chair, Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations, do you have the statement? Yes, sir. Because the person who owns the statement is not the member is not in the House, table the response.
Okay, I shall, Honorable Speaker.
The next one is still Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations, questioned by Honorable Gonzi Rai, member for Kinango, on the safety of Ms. Riziki Luvuno Mambo, who went missing in Saudi Arabia. Chair, do you have the response?
I do.
The member is in the House, so prosecute it.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Speaker. The Honorable Member for Kinango constituency, Honorable Gonzi Rai, MP, pursuant to provision of Standing Order 442C, requested for a statement from Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs regarding the status of Ms. Riziki Luvuno Mambo in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The Honorable Member specifically sought to be informed on the following. Number one, the circumstances surrounding the arrest of Mrs. Riziki Luvuno Mambo by Saudi Arabian police. Two, steps that the relevant government agencies have taken to ascertain her whereabouts and secure expeditious release from custody and repatriation to Kenya from proper physical and mental care. And number three, measures that the government has taken to guarantee safety of all Kenyans living and working abroad to ensure that they receive timely government assistance in cases of distress. The committee engaged the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Foreign and Diaspora Affairs on the matter raised by Honorable Gonzi. I therefore wish to respond as follows, Madam Speaker. On the first question regarding the circumstances of Ms. Mambo's arrest, the ministry reported that in July 2023, Ms. Riziki Luvuno Mambo traveled to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for a 2-year contract as a domestic worker. The family reported to the State Department for Diaspora Affairs about her arrest and detention at a facility referred to as Sawari Police Station in Jeddah. Upon inquiry by the Kenyan Embassy in Riyadh, the consulate in Jeddah, it was established that there is no police facility by the name Sawari Police Station in the kingdom. A search was conducted in another police station, but it did not yield results. Furthermore, Saudi law enforcement authorities shared with the Kenyan Embassy a list of all Kenyans in detention, custody, and prison between April 2024 and October 2024, in which Ms. Mambo's name did not appear. On the second question concerning steps taken to ascertain her whereabouts, the ministry informed the committee that the search was expanded to include hospitals and deportation centers with the assistance of Kenyan diaspora networks in Saudi Arabia. The search remains ongoing, and once our location is established, the government will provide all necessary assistance to facilitate our reunion with her family. Regarding the third question, Madam Speaker, on measures to guarantee the safety of the Kenyans abroad, the ministry highlighted the following measures taken by the government. Number one is that there has been an establishment of diplomatic missions to cater for Kenya's need in Saudi Arabia, including an embassy in Riyadh and a consulate in Jeddah. And then creation of the Department for Diaspora Affairs to safeguard the welfare, rights, and interests of Kenyans abroad. And number three, provision of repatriation and evacuation services in time of distress and emergencies. There is also other measure of continuous registration of Kenyans abroad at the embassies and at the State Department Diaspora Affairs for accountability. There has been signing of labor agreements, which is aimed at safeguarding the rights and welfare of Kenyans working abroad. Introduction of mobile consular services, outreach program to reach Kenyans even in remote areas abroad, and ensure they are provided with essential government services and documentation like passports, national ID, birth certificate for children born abroad, and other services. Development of legal aid information frameworks and pre-departure manuals to provide Kenyans going abroad with information on their rights and essential basic information of their country of destination. Establishment of reporting channels for distress cases via ministries' e-citizen portal, hotlines, email, and 24-hour call center at the State Department of Foreign Affairs. And the other one, Madam Speaker, is provision of emergency travel documents and financial assistance for repatriation of Kenyans in distress without passports. And finally, through diaspora engagements, the ministry continues to sensitize Kenyans on observing the laws of the host countries to avoid conflict with the law that might lead to arrests. Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs further states that it remains committed to safeguarding the welfare, rights, and interests of Kenyans abroad, and will continue to employ all necessary measures to guarantee their safety and well-being in foreign countries. Madam Speaker, I submit.
Before I give you Honorable Member for Kinango, allow me to recognize in the public gallery, take your seat. In the public gallery, pupils and learners from Nchoroiboro Primary School in Vuri constituency, Meru County, and I will give Honorable Dorothy to welcome them on our behalf.
Thank you, Honorable Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to take this opportunity on behalf of the MP, Bore constituency, Honorable Mugambi Ndikiri, and on my own behalf, hailing from that constituency, and on behalf of this parliament, to welcome Nchoroiboro School in the House of Parliament. Honorable Madam Speaker, I want to encourage the learners to see what happens in Parliament. This is the house where legislation is done. This is the house where oversight is done. This is the house where representation takes place. And we are here to represent the interests of the people who brought us here. Honorable Madam Speaker, Nchoroiboro School is a old school which has produced so many professionals in this country. And I'm sure the learners with us today will be part and parcel of those professionals as they go along their studies. And I want to challenge them, now that they are in Parliament, let them produce a parliamentarian from them as well as other professionals. We leverage on technology.
We don't debate more than that, Honorable Mudhoni.
Honorable Madam Speaker, I want to encourage the girls to know that even the speaker seated on the chair today is a woman. So even ladies have an opportunity of sitting in this house and sitting in the highest seat. Thank you, Honorable.
Thank you, Honorable Muthoni. Honorable Member for Kinango, are you satisfied with the response? If not, do you have a follow-up question or questions?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. While I do appreciate what has been explained by the Chair of the Defense and Foreign Affairs, my appeal and on behalf of the family is that we still expect to appeal to the government and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to expedite their search to ensure that at least Riziki Mambo is found, be it live or dead, but if she can just reunite with the family. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Chair, do you have anything else to add?
Mheshimiwa Gonzi, tutatia bidii tuhakikisha kwamba ameweza uwasiliano uweze kupatikana ili pia na wewe uweze kuwajulisha familia. Hadi wakati huo tunawaombea kila laheri na kwamba atapatikana akiwa hai.
Asante. Next order. What is out of order? Honorable Raso.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we have the statement regarding security in Isiolo.
The one you had just spoken about?
Yes.
Well, the member who asked the question is not in the House. Table the response.
Thank you.
Honorable Clive, what is out of order?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Last week I'd asked for a statement from the Chair, Departmental Committee on Health, about a child who was stuck in India due to non-remittance of 500,000 shillings by SHA, which it had promised for the child to be sent there for treatment from Kenyatta National Hospital. I was promised to have a response this week, but I cannot see the
It is
chair.
not listed in today's responses.
I'm saying the chair had committed to respond this week, but neither is the chair here, nor is it being listed. I wonder whether the Parliament has become a house where we give empty promises.
The chair for health is not in the House. Is the vice in the House? If not, majority leader, this comes back to you. And when we give pronouncements here, they should really be honored. If there was a promise for this week.
Allow me, because the week is not over,
the week includes in the afternoon.
Yes.
To get the concerned chair so that your response can be in the afternoon brief.
Very well. Honorable Mizigi, you on a point of order? No?
Not really, Chair.
Okay.
Speaker, mine was just to thank my counterpart, the chairperson of Defense and Foreign Affairs, on the response that is given to Honorable Gonzi, because Honorable Gonzi was really in a distress, and he was pushing the Committee of Diaspora to respond the same, and I appreciated for the response. Thank you.
Very well. Next order.
Order number 8, motion. Report of the Committee of the Whole House on consideration of the Senate Amendment Bill, Senate Amendment to the Land Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 40 of 2022. Chairperson to report.
Chairperson.
Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole House considered the Senate Amendment to the Land Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 40 of 2022, and approved the same without amendments.
Mover, Honorable Kingara.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the House do agree with the report of the Committee of the Whole House on its consideration on the Senate Amendment to the Land Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 40 of 2022. Madam Speaker, may I start by appreciating this House, which has come up with us all the way from 2020 when I started this bill. And by that, I appreciate Honorable Nyamai, who was chairing the committee then. The House was able to move this amendment bill, which primarily touches on public grant, gazettement, and titling, so that it is locked. Then it elapsed around 2022. We started in 2022 again, Madam Speaker, and the same House, Honorable House, found it worth to go all the first reading, second reading, third reading, the Committee of the Whole. Then it was sent to Senate. And I'm also grateful, Madam Speaker, to Senate, because as much as they came with an amendment, the amendment is so friendly because it wanted the bill to be, the legislation to be gazetted, which is important, especially matters touching public land. So, Madam Speaker, it is important to note that if we do not lock public land, then we will not have any place to put government facilities like schools, Madam Speaker, hospitals, and even police stations. Today in the morning, Madam Speaker, we wanted to work on the market land where you can put a market. Unfortunately, Madam Speaker, you need an acre to do a good market for people, noting that Loido is so popular. It's the most populous in the country. And I could only get half an acre. I don't know how to go about it. If we are to make any progress, Madam Speaker, the government has to go back and buy land for such facilities. Well, Madam Speaker, we had ample land area which was not rocked, and somebody took the land. So, Madam Speaker, I'm so grateful to everybody, especially those members who are very positive on supporting this land, including the current chair land, Joas, who also in support of this. And this, with these few remarks, Madam Speaker, I request Honorable George Mulugara to second as I move.
Honorable Mulugara.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to second. Thank you.
Honorable members, I therefore propose the question that this House do agree with the report of the Committee of the Whole House on its consideration of the Senate Amendment to the Land Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 40 of 2022. I'll give Honorable Nyamai.
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. There seems to be a problem with the connection to the cards. Honorable Speaker, thank you very much for giving me a chance to make a comment on this very important bill that was initiated by the Honorable
Kingara, member for Ruiru. I would like to congratulate him, and also more so for the patience. This being a devolved matter, this bill was discussed here, went to the Senate, and it is so important that we ensure that land that has been given to government is properly documented and registered. And as the Honorable Kingara was saying, now we realize that we require land that is documented because of the affordable housing project. You try to get just a single acre of land in a constituency and it is impossible. We try to construct a police station, you are not able to get land, and if it is there, it is not documented. So, Honorable Speaker, this bill is very important. It is also important for the National Land Commission. They will be able to use it for a vesting of land. Land that has been acquired compulsorily for construction of roads, the reserve on the, along our highways and along even our rural roads. Honorable Speaker, it is sad to note that those pieces of land have not been properly surveyed, properly documented, and more so registered with the name of Treasury. And this is very important. And this is the reason as to why most of the government land is lost, because some surveyors who may have the wrong intentions, they leave out public land and they go back to the same pieces of land. And because they are aware that that land has not been properly gazetted, properly registered in the name of the National Treasury, the same pieces of land are subdivided and they benefit other people. So this is a very important bill, and I would like to congratulate the National Assembly, the Senate, and this House for the good work that it has done. I hope that it sees the light of the day, because this is not the end. It will need to go all the way to become an act of parliament, and that is how it will be useful. Honorable Speaker, you take note that people who have huge chunks of land are supposed to give a percentage of their land back to government. When they do so, that land is taken advantage of because of failure to gazette it properly and failure to register it in the name of government, and that is in the name of the National Treasury. So congratulations, Honorable Kingara, and thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the chance.
Now, Dr. Makali Mulu.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. Honorable Speaker, I also want to join colleagues in appreciating this bill, and more so Honorable Kingara, who has actually been spearheading the bill. My hope is also that it will see the end of the day by being an act of parliament. But even as I support this, Honorable Speaker, there is a bill I was also sponsoring, which was touching on the lives of members who are here and those who have left. And I'm sure that, Honorable Speaker, you are aware about the Parliamentary Pensions Amendment Bill, which touches our lives as members of Parliament. I'm a bit concerned that as at now, nothing seems to be moving. I'm happy that I'm seeing the majority leader here. And I'm saying, Honorable Speaker, as we serve Kenyans, let's remember that very soon we'll be part of that team. It's important we also finalize this bill for the sake of the members who have left this House and those who are going to leave very soon. And I want to remind members, we are all potential former members of Parliament. So, Honorable Speaker, I'm begging that through your intentions, Honorable Speaker, we could get this bill through this House, possibly before the end of this year, because next year we are getting into politics. And it will be very difficult to prosecute a bill here touching on us as politicians when we are campaigning. I submit, Honorable Speaker.
Well, Majority Leader, that's an issue that has been pending. Maybe you can give an undertaking to have it scheduled, at least this session, to be important.
Honorable Speaker, well guided, we'll take it up in the House Business Committee.
Very well. Member for Kiamba.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to support Honorable Kingara on this particular bill. because it is very important for us to make sure that we protect the public land, especially from the same people who sometimes subdivide land and make sure that this land belongs to the public, but because they know that the land doesn't have any documentation in terms of title deed, they make sure that they also use fake titles to grab public land. We have very serious issues, especially even in our constituencies, whereby you have a school that it belongs to the public, doesn't have a title deed. You have a land that probably, even if you want to do an affordable housing or you want to build a KMTC, you want to do a TVET, you cannot be able to do that because those lands, they belong to the public, but yet they don't have documentations. Madam Speaker, this will go a long way to make sure that we safeguard the future of our children and the future of public land. Because as we move forward, there is a realization that public land the usage of a public land, they are diminishing in one way or the other. And you realize that the majority of the public land has been grabbed, especially even in a constituency like in Kiamba. I was telling Honorable Kingara that even to get a public land to do an affordable housing, we don't have, because majority of those public lands have been grabbed. And now we have people who are sitting on those lands. They have constructed very serious houses. And to make sure that you are able to repossess those lands, it will become a nightmare for the government to possess the land back. So we must make sure that the retro public land we have been able to safeguard it by making sure that we offer documentations. And the National Land Commission must arise to this occasion, not only to do reporting, but they make sure that they allocate and issue title deeds to specific public lands. If it's a police station, we make sure that that police station has a document that even years and years to come, that probably is with the Harambee House, that is the custodian of the Harambee House or probably the National Treasury, so that we make sure we protect this few public land that remains for purposes of benefiting the public that we represent today, Madam Speaker. So therefore, I rise to support and congratulate Mheshimiwa Kingara for coming up with this bill. We support.
Honorable member. No. Okay. Honorable members, there being no more interest on this bill, allow me to put the question. Allow me to put the question that this House do agree with the report of the Committee of the Whole House on its consideration of the Senate amendment to the Land Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 40 of 2022. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as are of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 9, the Air Passenger Service Charge Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 35 of 2025. Second reading.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And I beg to move, Honorable Speaker, that the Air Passenger Service Charge Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 35 of 2025, be now read a second time. Honorable Speaker, this bill is a very short bill, almost about 3 clauses. And principally, Honorable Speaker, the intent of this bill is to have monies that are usually charged to passengers, air passengers, both for domestic and international flights, and usually appropriated or shared between the Kenya Airports Authority, the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, and the Tourism Promotion Fund, to now be shared amongst these institutions, but to the exclusion of the Tourism Promotion Fund, and in its place put the Tourism Fund, which is a more centralized fund that will be better placed to ensure that this money goes to the promotion of tourism-related activities and projects. Honorable Speaker, the bill also shares out this money to the Kenya Meteorological Service Authority, as is envisaged in the bill that we passed yesterday on the creation of the Kenya Meteorological Service Authority. Members are aware that this authority does not exist yet because we only passed that bill yesterday. And therefore, we are consulting, and I know the committee right now is in a meeting with the CS in charge of transport, to consult around this issue and know whether, by the time we come to third reading, whether we will need to have the Kenya Meteorological Service Authority enlisted as part of the beneficiaries of these funds, or just leave it as it is for this authority to get money from the Exchequer. But, Honorable Speaker, in the endeavor of the bill to allocate part of this money to the Kenya Meteorological Service is also to ensure that there's a sustainable revenue stream for the authority and enable it to deliver on its statutory mandate, and particularly to ensure that there is accurate weather forecasting. And you know, accurate weather forecasting is also critical for aviation safety and disaster preparedness, as much as is also very good and effective in forecasting weather for our farmers and other national needs. But in this particular case, the intent of the bill was to ensure that this authority, as much as it will get money from the Exchequer directly by appropriation from the National Assembly, and those who are here during debate on the meteorological bill are aware that that authority has also the opportunity to get money allocated by this House for its work. But we are also looking at an opportunity to have them have another more sustainable stream other than the normal budgetary provisions. But as I said, Honorable Speaker, the committee is currently engaging with a view to proposing amendments when we come to Committee of the Whole House, hopefully on Tuesday morning, so that, again, there is no duplication. If we are appropriating money to that authority from the House, there may be no need, again, to appropriate these funds from the air passenger service charge. Honorable Speaker, this charge, as I said, is charged both on local flights at a level of about 600 shillings for local flights and about $50 for international flights. And as I said, currently this money is being shared to KAA, that usually gets the largest share because they are the ones running the airports that are patronized by the passengers who are boarding the flights. And they usually, from the international flights, they usually get about 60%, with another 20% going to KCAA and also to the Kenya Tourism Promotion Fund. On domestic flights, again, KAA gets the larger proportion, about 50%, and about 30% going into KCAA, and another 20% going to the Tourism Promotion Fund. As I said, Honorable Speaker, in place of the Tourism Promotion Fund, we are proposing that this money now goes to the Tourism Fund. One, to avoid duplication or reduce the duplication of monies that are going to various entities within the tourism sector, and improve efficiency by ensuring that tourism-related projects are supported from a single unified fund. And there is no better fund other than the Tourism Fund for that purpose, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, as I said, it's a very short bill and therefore do not need to say much. The only other thing members will note from the bill is that unlike before, where I've said that these monies are shared out under the Act, we are now creating greater flexibility to allow the Cabinet Secretary through Gazette notices in the Kenya Gazette to specify the allocation of proceeds amongst the beneficiaries. So based on needs and adaptability of emerging needs, without the delays for further legislative amendments. As I said, for instance, now, if we were to incorporate the Tourism Fund, if you are to change the ratios as they were in an Act of Parliament, you'd have to come back to the House to allow Parliament to legislate again. And you know how long that process can take, as Honorable Makali was alluding to on the bill that he was proposing. And you're aware how long it's been here. So it becomes a little bit cumbersome if, even on sharing ratios, you have to come back to the House to legislate. So we want to give that flexibility and adaptability to the Cabinet Secretary so that if tomorrow, for instance, we think KAA requires more money because probably KAA is building a new airport, or KCAA requires to ensure greater aviation safety in the country and they require more money, it will be up to the Cabinet Secretary to propose in the Kenya Gazette through regulations the ratios through which they will share these monies. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, with those very many remarks, I want to ask the Deputy Leader of Majority, I was looking for him. I beg to move, and as I was looking for my deputy, I beg to ask my deputy, the Honorable Owen Baya, to second this motion. Thank you.
Honorable Owen.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I want to thank the Leader of Majority for ably moving this bill, Honorable Speaker. This is fairly a short bill, Honorable Speaker, that seeks to do one thing, to ensure that the money that is appropriated under the air passenger service charge, Honorable Speaker, is shared among other institutions, Honorable Speaker. And there are 3 institutions, Honorable Speaker, earmarked for that, so that the money can also be shared for utilization in those departments. One of them is the Kenya Meteorological Services Authority, which we ably yesterday passed this bill, and I am sure it will get presidential assent. And therefore, the Meteorological Services, Honorable Speaker, you realize, does a lot of work to give us weather updates, to give us, even when planes are flying into this country, they depend so much on weather forecasts so that we know whether it is safe to fly or not safe to fly. But the Meteorological Department does not have its own source revenue, Honorable Speaker, although it ensures that we are safe when flying, Honorable Speaker. So it is fair, and I want to emphasize that, Honorable Speaker, it is fair that the Meteorological Services Authority now draws some money from the air passenger service charge, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, another important beneficiary is the Tourism Fund, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, air services make a lot of money from tourists in this country. And in doing that, Honorable Speaker, we realize it is important that we continue to fund the Kenya Tourism Fund, Honorable Speaker. When the Tourism Fund is properly funded, Honorable Speaker, then we'll get more tourists. And therefore, it is okay, Honorable Speaker, to ensure that Tourism Fund also gets some money. Honorable Speaker, the fund will continue also to provide funds for the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority and the Kenya Airports Authority, Honorable Speaker. These 2 bodies will also be drawing funds from this. So, Honorable Speaker, this is a fairly short bill, and this bill, Honorable Speaker, also includes some of the amendments that are intended to be done, Honorable Speaker, includes, Honorable Speaker, showing where the money will come from. For example, the air services charge, Honorable Speaker, will also get grants, donation, bequests, or other gifts made to the fund, and also monies from any other source approved by the Cabinet Secretary for the time being responsible for matters relating to finance. Monies appropriated by Parliament for the purposes of the fund, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, for us to ensure the air services in this country are properly taken care of, then there are certain institutions that also need to be funded so that we continue to have respect in the world of air travels, Honorable Speaker. And for that reason, Honorable Speaker, I second and ask members of this House to support this bill so that we pass it as quickly as possible to ensure that we provide funds for these other bodies. Honorable Speaker, I second.
Honorable members, allow me to propose the question that the Air Passenger Service Charge Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 35 of 2025, be now read a second time. Member for Kathiani.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity to also make a contribution on this bill on the Air Passenger Service Charter. Madam Speaker, this has always existed. This fund has always existed, and it has always been shared out. But previously, it was shared out amongst three institutions. And so what has happened is that within the bill, one of the institutions has changed, the one for tourism, because these air passengers, when they make payments, one of the areas, critical areas that we want to support is the tourism sector. So basically, the money was going to the Tourism Promotion Fund, but the new proposal is that it goes to the Tourism Fund, which is more central, so that it can be able to be used properly for purposes of dealing with the tourism industry. Madam Speaker, the other new one that has been introduced is the Kenya Meteorological Service Authority. The Met Department, Madam Speaker, is very, very critical in air transport because every time before any plane takes off, they must give a report, they must check the weather patterns, they must check whether there will be anything that can affect the aeroplanes. And therefore, it is one of those institutions that are critical in air travel. And therefore, it didn't even make sense that they were not being supported by the sector. So this is a very, very, very important adjustment. So I think it's important that we are able to now using part of this fund support the Met Department. Madam Speaker, the other two that were already there, the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, basically requires this money so that they can improve the industry. And finally, the Kenya Airports Authority requires this money so that they can be able to also improve the facilities at the airports. Madam Speaker, it is out of these funds that we are supposed to ensure that we provide enough money slowly over the period when more and more people travel through our airplanes, that we are able to develop enough money to be able to even build an airport. Madam Speaker, I'm saying this because we have seen attempts in the recent past where there was an attempt to almost privatize our airports. And I think it's important that we use the monies that are available from our air tickets so that we can be able to build enough capital so that we can be able to start doing a new wing for our airport. Madam Speaker, some of these installations are so critical that we must ensure that the government has some say. You cannot allow certain critical infrastructure to be in the hands of private investors. And Madam Speaker, that's why I'm also concerned that we are hearing reports in the corridors of power that even the Kenya Pipeline Corporation is about to be also given to private investors. Madam Speaker, what kind of a country would we be if our distribution of energy is through private hands, if our distribution of fuel is through private hands, if our airports are in the hands of private investors? That means that someone outside government can be running this country, Madam Speaker. So I want to say that this regime must stop these games of taking control of critical infrastructure that belongs to Kenyan people so that we can ensure that the money that we have and we pay as taxes is the money that is used to be able to develop our infrastructure, not private individuals, so that we do not lose the essence of what we call governance. So, Madam Speaker, with those remarks, I think it's important that this money is shared fairly and that we be able to develop our industry for the tourism industry, the air travel industry, so that Kenya can prosper as a nation. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Member for Kiamba.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to support this bill. But I also want to maybe state 2 or 3 things because I've been a vice chair of that committee for the longest time. And I totally support because also there is the suggestion of the merger of the TPF and Tourism Fund. But I also want to tell the Leader of Majority, because I know he's the sponsor of the bill, that as we also prepare to take the biggest chunk of the money to Tourism Fund, we must also put into consideration the role that probably and the policies that the Tourism Fund has been doing. It cannot be able, to support any other institutions, especially in terms of promoting tourism. But the TPF was able to do that. It was the one that was funding KTB, Kenya Tourism Board. It was, sponsoring the Magical Kenya. It was sponsoring some projects in KWS and other institutions. So as we also support the Tourism Fund, it would be prudent for us to make sure that we also give them some leeway, maybe a year or 2 before they wind up and join the Tourism Fund, because they already have existing projects that they have been sponsoring. So once we deny them the opportunity of getting that money that they have been getting, what becomes of those projects? Those projects will become ghost projects. They have been funding Ronan Gara, funding Kenya Wildlife Service. They have been funding other institutions within the tourism sector. So it is very, very important for us to make sure that as we release the funds to the Tourism Fund, there is enough policy to support other tourism activities beyond whatever Tourism Fund has been able to do. And we know because now they're the one who are in charge of Lonard Gara and probably sponsorship of Bombers of Kenya. We also make sure that other related tourism activities have enough funds to continue attracting tourists within our Republic of Kenya, and also to make sure that they continue marketing, Kenya as a tourist destination, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker. So I support, but I will also urge, as we see the proposal that will be brought in the floor of the House by the committee, we also make sure that as we prepare to merge the two institutions, we have also given them some time frame to complete the ongoing projects in terms of project that they have been sponsoring. Since now, once this bill has been assent by the president, it will deny them of any funds to make sure that they support other existing or ongoing projects. So there must be a transitions clause, probably in the third reading, or we would support in the third reading to make sure that they complete all the ongoing projects before they wind up and they merge between tourism and tourism promotion fund. So therefore, Madam Speaker, we are supporting, but wait to see the amendments that probably will be brought by the committee. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Member for Makueni.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I also wish to put my voice on this particular bill. And basically, I find it quite enriching. My only concern is we realize that this fund was mainly used to manage directly the services related to the airport. My only concern, Honorable Speaker, is once these funds are taken to other services, what happens to the services being managed by KAA? Because I found out that in this particular country, Honorable Speaker, we have this habit of stopping what is working to create what is not working. And I think that is not actually very helpful. We need to understand what problem are we trying to solve by Houses for our Kenyans. Now this fund has become the fund to do anything and anything. It is not markets, it's anything. So if we are diversifying these funds and creating loopholes for people to have floating money while we neglect the core services of any fund, Honorable Speaker, I think this is not in order. So we need the mover of the bill to give us more information. What is not working now and what makes this work as opposed to loading and diversifying funds from the management of KAA and weakening the services of the core mandate of the airlines. So I thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I beg to sit. Thank you.
Very well. Honorable Dr. Makali Mulu.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want also to support this bill. I think the justification for the institutions to get the money has been well explained by the mover and some of the members who have contributed to this bill, Honorable Speaker. It is very well justified that the KAA should get money. Kenya Civil Aviation, very good justification why they should get money. Kenya Tourism Fund, why they should get money. And then the Meteorological Services Authority, Honorable Speaker. But Honorable Speaker, just a caution. If I heard the majority leader well, Honorable Speaker, the majority leader percentage goes to which institution? I think that should be either left with Parliament, because you'll be able to get the justification, or instead of leaving it with just the accounting officer, left within a team of accounting officers. For example, we could say that when it comes to sharing, the 4 concerned accounting officers might have to sit down and discuss and agree what shares. Otherwise, if you leave to an individual, Honorable Speaker, we might then cause confusion and have a lot of conflict between the accounting officers. So this is something which I think as we move to the third reading, we might have to look at, Honorable Speaker, so that these particular percentages are well explained. But I think as Honorable Mbui was saying, Honorable Speaker, this idea of privatization of public institutions or parastatals, Honorable Speaker, is a matter as a country we need to engage in what I would call a national conversation, Honorable Speaker. Because, Honorable Speaker, some of these parastatals are so strategic that leaving them to private hands might be a bit tricky for the country. And that's why I think really I would want to hear what the Public Debt and Privatization Committee and the Committee on Energy, who are discussing the KPC matter, will be telling the House on matters privatization. Because from where I sit, Honorable Speaker, I think this House will have to take time and debate this issue of KPC in a very sober way so that we don't put this country and such a strategic parastatal, Honorable Speaker, in the hands of a private sector. But that will be debated when it comes to the House, Honorable Speaker. I only wish that the concerned committees will be able to give us the right direction, and I also hope, Honorable Speaker, that the concerned committees will not be influenced, as the President has said that the committees of this House are getting influenced. I think we'll be getting a report which is objective, a report which has been discussed thoroughly based on information provided, so that we clean ourselves as a House. Because, Honorable Speaker, you remember yesterday, as a House, we were already said to be that the committees are getting influence, external influence. And I would want really to see us cleaning ourselves from that, if it is true. But from where I sit, Honorable Speaker, I do believe that statement, we might have to give us time to discuss that statement. Because personally, I don't agree with it. For now, Honorable Speaker, I support the bill.
Honorable Geshimo.
Honorable Speaker, I also rise to support this bill. And Honorable Speaker, this amendment is very critical because in the previous arrangement, there appeared also to be a conflict of interest because the CS who is supposed also to make regulations was also sitting in the same tourism promotion fund. And the merger of the tourism promotion fund and the tourism fund it will be very critical because they both speak to the same. A tourism fund is for purposes of promotion of the tourism. What just needs to be ended is what the tourism promotion fund was doing, and it's not being done by the tourism fund. Honorable Speaker, looking at the amendment also, it will not be expected that an act of parliament has to be amended for the ratios to be adjusted. And therefore, when a CS is given the powers, and I think it should be very clear that it has to be through regulations that also needs to come before Parliament through the relevant committee for the purposes of that adjustment to be adopted by the Parliament. Honorable Speaker, I do support. Thank you.
Honorable Joseph Dena.
Madam Speaker, I rise to support this bill. I think the most important thing is for us to be able to look at what are the functions of Meteorological Department. And when you look at it, this is a department which has been underfunded, which has no resources. And in everywhere where you travel, and with this climate change, with floods that are happening, the Meteorological Department form a key part of our lives. And if we put it into the air service charge, which is distributed now between Kenya Airports Authority, KAA, and the other institution, this will form part and give the minister our leeway to distribute the fund. But the key factor that we need also to look at, it is how this amount will be distributed. I think my colleague has also said there is the tourism fund and the tourism TPF, which has been funding a lot of and giving a lot of grants. It's been funding Utalii College, it's been funding most of the colleges that are standing. It's been funding also Tourism Board. So we need to look at the moment it exits, what are the projects that they are doing and how they are going to be funded. But I raise to support this motion. Thank you.
There being no more interests, I don't see you on my system. Where are you?